Namaste everybody. In the 12th part of the Mahabharata series, I am going to talk about an epigraphic evidence of the Mahabharata. This inscription was issued by King Janamejaya, the great grandson of Arjuna, in whose presence Mahabharata was recited when Veda Vyāsa, the author, was also present. So this carries the tag of shabda pramāna, or the primary source of evidence. Let us see what this inscription says. See, here I am showing one picture. It is the place where this inscription was issued. Here is a matha. A Madhva matha is present here. This is a very isolated and sort of very scenic place. Common people are not here. They only a matha, and then rishis have been living in the past also. What you're seeing is the Tungabhadra river. Across the river, you can see a kind of bridge by using which you can go to the other shore. And this bridge is not a properly made one, but made of uneven sized broken boulders. And this place is known as Vrikodara Kshetra, mentioned in the Janamejaya inscription itself. Vrikodara is another name for Bhima. So during Janamajaya's time itself, this was known as the Bhima Kshetra. And this is considered that Bhima had laid these rocks or boulders to enable Draupadi to cross the river, while the others Pandavas could have just swum across, whereas Draupadi, to enable Draupadi to move to the other side, he has laid these boulders. That is a belief. So this is known as Bhima Setu, and this place is known as Bhimanakate. In Kannada language, Kate means Setu or some dam or bridge. And this inscription gives these Panchanga details, almost all Panchanga details, with which we are able to find out the year. This is Yudhishthira Shaka. Shaka means branch or the sub-period of Kali Yuga. The first sub-period of Kali Yuga is Yudhishthira Shaka. On the 89th year, in that year, Plavanga year. See, today now we have Vishwavasu. So in the same way, those days they had this is a continuously maintained, this naming. So Plavanga year, Sahasya Masa is the solar month. See, I already told only solar months are mentioned, not lunar months. Lunar months for Tithi only. Here the Tithi was a eclipse time, so it was Amavasya. The corresponding one is a Pushya Amavasya, whereas Sahasya or Makara Masa only is mentioned. Saumya Vasara. There was a solar eclipse. At that time, Janamejaya, King Janamejaya issued this grant for the sake of the rishis there. There was a Sitarama temple. For the upkeep of the temple, he donated some lands. The boundary names are also there, and those names exist in Kannada name today. So they continue to those things. That is, the area is intact, I should say. But using these Panchanga details, you are able to get the date as 3013 BCE. It's using the Surya Siddhanta Ayanamsha, not in any other thing. So from the 89th year of Yudhishthira Shaka, you can find out the first year, because this is the first sub-period of Kali Yuga, I said. So the first year of the Kali Yuga was Pramati, which was 3101 BCE. From Janamejaya inscription, you are deriving this. I am not using any other thing, I tell you. And the 36th year before that was Krodhi, which was 3136 BCE, which was the year of the Mahabharata war. So the first year of the Kali Yuga was 3101 BCE, when Krishna left. On learning that Krishna has left the world, the Pandavas relinquished the throne, and they gave the throne to Parikshit, the grandson of Arjuna, who was born to Abhimanyu. So the Kali Yuga started with the first king. The first king of the Kali Yuga was Parikshit. His son, he ruled for 60 years. His son was Janamejaya. On his 29th year, or on the 89th year of the Kali Yuga or Yudhishthira Shaka, this grant was given. My question is, have you ever heard any researcher, Mahabharata researcher, talking about this? What about the archaeologists? They are all looking at Hastinapur, somewhere in North India, and they are only getting this pot sheds. In what way you can relate it to Mahabharata? There may be many households at that time using only pot sheds can be got. One thing I tell you, you won't get even a nail of the chariot they used, because we Indians have a tendency to reuse anything. Even today, we never waste anything. If a chariot was sort of broken or could not be repaired, we immediately melt it and then get something else done with that. So you can never get any evidence or material evidence of Kurukshetra war in Kurukshetra or even in Hastinapura, the Hastinapura, whatever metallic things they used. You won't get even fossils because we cremate the bodies, we never bury them, right? So archaeologically, if you are looking for some chariot or some dead body, never, you won't get them. Whereas the archaeological evidence is here in Shimoga district, in Tungabhadra river, where the boulders are there. By analyzing the boulders, the archaeologists can find out the date and just tell us whether it coincides with the date that we are getting through the Panchanga method. But the problem is that is further. Before we proceed further, I'll just give you a brief idea about the 6 periods because people are confused. Nobody knows about, many people don't know about Kali Yuga and the sub periods of that. So the Kali Yuga has 6 sub periods like this. This material is given in Kalidasa's Jyotir Vidabharana, and then so many other texts also. This is what we are following. That is the first Shaka is Yudhishthira Shaka. People used to say, no, Yudhishthira Shaka means when Yudhishthira started ruling. Never. He was in Dwapara Yuga. He ruled. His rule was based on what Bhishma told him from the Arabic. Whereas when Parikshit was made the king, they gave the rules to him. Yudhishthira's rules, Yudhishthira Shashanam was put in place. That is why the first Shaka of Kali Yuga was known as Yudhishthira Shaka. Not that it started from Yudhishthira's time. It started from Parikshit's time. Please be informed of that. So it went on for 44 years, then followed by Vikrama Shaka for 135 years. That is on 78th CE only, Shalivahana Shaka, the present Shaka started. So until then, you add these two, you get 3179 years. See, earlier I was talking about 3179 years before Shalivahana Shaka. That is how you got it, adding up these two. And then we are in the Shalivahana Shaka now. Coming back to Janamejaya inscription, my question is why nobody recognized this? They all talk about Aihole. One researcher says based on the Aihole only I got this date, the 3061 or something BCE. Aihole was made in the 7th century BCE, 7th century CE during Purikation's time. And it was misinterpreted because no inscription gives the date of Mahabharata. Even this also doesn't give the date of Mahabharata. It gives you the date of Kali Yuga. It gives you a mode or method to deduce the date of Kali Yuga from which you derive the Mahabharata date based on the 4 internal evidences on 35-year gap. Understood? Here, why no Mahabharata researcher is recognizing this? After all, this foreigners, they only initially have analyzed this. Fleet and Louis Rice, some 100 years ago, they rejected this inscription. They couldn't accept it because it's not in sync with Aryan invasion theory. At those times, they were believing in Aryan invasion. So this was even before that. And so they didn't accept it. They couldn't reproduce the date in the Julian calendar. They didn't have any simulator, but in the manual calculation they made, they could not reproduce it. Even today, let people make it. People try it in the astronomy simulator. They cannot get it because the method is different. What they are using is different. What you have to use it something different. I already discussed about the Surya Siddhanta Yanamsa and our tradition, everything. And they couldn't accept that 5,000-year-old evidence is there. That is, civilization has existed in India 5,000 years old. So let them say, then why you people, that is the Mahabharata researchers, or why Indians are also repeating the same thing? Oh, it's forged, it is fabricated. Have you ever heard any Mahabharata researcher talk about this inscription? Please ask them. Why not accept this? What is the problem with that? Ask them. And then there is one Robert Andrew Scott. He was the last person to have analyzed this inscription. He was a superintendent of Inam settlements of Mysore because this comes under Mysore area only in those days. This is in Shimoga. Okay. And he examined the inscription because any regime change happens. The first thing that they will look at it, the land records, because they are concerned about the revenue from the land. Whereas this is a tax-free area. This was given in charity. So they will show they would have shown their inscript, that is a copper plate, and he examined it. He couldn't find anything wrong with that. He found it to be genuine. Though it gives a very long date, he couldn't refuse it. So what he has said, he has examined that area. He examined this and then said, whatever may be the origin of this mata, it is today, it is a Madhva mata. Only Madhvacharya got his diksha from this mata. Before that, the people were Advaitins. Before that, people were just rishis. Continuously for 5,000 years, rishis have been occupying this place. This is the only such place, maybe in the world also, in India and also in the world, but we are not recognizing it. What a shame on us. And then he said, we may be, whether there may be, whatever may be the origin of the matter, the dam bears undoubted traces of the wondrous magnitude of the works of those days. He had recognized it. So now I appeal to the archaeologists to come and examine and find out the date of that. And the other doubts about the inscription, I tell you. Any inscription, will have some kind of emblem or something. Here, can you see? It is a Varaha emblem. So Varaha is the emblem of the Vijayanagara people. When we look at the other documents in possession of this Mata here, it is found that when Keledi Samsthana was in existence in those days, some 300, 400 years ago, they were the vassal state of the Vijayanagara people. And this inscription was ratified under them. See, there is always a tendency for any king to respect the charity given by another king, even if he may be a enemy king also, but they won't touch the charity, because every king who gives a charity will include one word: whomever is spoiling this charity will suffer like this, suffer like that. They will say they want their charity to be respected by future kings. In the same way, they will respect the charity given by a past kings. So this was also found to be a genuine one and ratified. When they are ratifying it, they will give their emblem. The writing will be in the language of their period. So, yeah, but even then, the boundaries were as given by Janamejaya. Today, only the boundary names have changed. For example, for Binna, it is Aihole. The present Kannada names are there. And this is the inscription given in the archaeological book. And this is the exact copper plate in possession of this Mata. Now it is in the museum. And it is only inscription that is referring to the Pandavas. It says, Asmat Prapitamaha Yudhishthradishti. That is, our great grandfather Yudhishthira and others had stayed here. And for that sake, he is giving. That means Janamejaya has visited most of the places visited by or where the Pandavas have resided during Vanavasa, and he must have given the charity. All those have been lost. But fortunately, this alone is existing even today. And this Bhimanakate grant date can be reproduced. On the same day, Janamejaya has issued a grant to Kedarnath to Ushaki Mat. Usha is the wife of Aniruddha. That is Krishna's grandson's wife. And their son Vajra only was made the king of Indraprastha after Krishna left. So from Indraprastha, it was issued to Kedarnath Mat in the name of Janamejaya only. Whereas Bhimanakate grant was given from Kishkinda. Probably they would have had a vassal state there. From there it was issued. And in the same Shimoga district, we are finding three more inscriptions of Janamejaya, Gauj, Kupagede, Begur, which can be dated. All the Panchanga features are there. They can be dated, and it is mentioned those were given to those Pandits during the Sarpayada. The dates can be brought out. But today, they are not in the possession of the same family, because the Gotra also is given of the people. And the boundaries are given. Now the boundaries look up different. And the Gotra also, the people in whose possession these are found, their Gotra is different. So it shows that over the period, the original recipient had sold it to others and it had changed hands for many times. Now, but anyway, the grant exists. We are able to find out to decide the date of the Kali Yuga, and from there the Mahabharata Yuga. From there you get the Kali Yuga. From there how the date of Krishna departed, the day of Krishna departure, and Mahabharata war. So my question is, why no Mahabharata researcher or other researcher talk about Janamejaya inscription? What makes them ignore it when it is a contemporaneous, it is a very valid epigraphic evidence for the date of Kali Yuga and thereby to Mahabharata date. With this, we are coming to the end of part 12. In the next part, we will further discuss more things Until then, goodbye, but please share this widely with others. Thank you very much.